Do you realize that you can create passive income in your real estate business as an agent?
No, that's crazy. Or is it? So the big question is this. As real estate agents, how do we figure out where and when to cross the finish line of this crazy business? We're told that we need to build a real estate business that supports us after we pay our dues. Well, the truth is that so many agents spend decades looking for the finish line and never find it. And I don't know about you, but we'll be damned if we're doing open houses until we're 70. You have to have passive streams of income in your real estate business if you want to survive. Well, this is exactly what we're talking about right here, right now on the Passive Real Estate Agent Podcast. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Passive Real Estate Agent Podcast. Hey, my name is Anthony Nitz, and I'm so glad that you guys are here today. We're going to be talking about making passive income in your real estate business. You know, in this industry, this wonderful yet crazy industry that we're in, they tell us to start a business. They tell us to do a lot of different things that hopefully get us to a goal line that oftentimes, it just gets missed. It just gets missed because people get burnt out. They get tired. They're like, man, I've been doing this forever and I don't see any end in sight. Well, we're going to solve that problem for you here on our podcast that we are just launching today. Today is our first episode. So again, so thrilled that you guys are here today. Again, my name is Anthony Nitz, but I want to introduce you to my partner here, Matt Stuart. Matt and I have known each other for a long time. Our kids we're both homeschooling families, and so we're involved in a lot of the same things and whatnot. Matt has, even though he's a real estate licensee and sells real estate and does all that stuff, he's also has an extensive background in property management and real estate investing. That's kind of where his real heart is. He really loves that, but has his license because, well, there's other opportunities as well. And those are some of the things that we'll probably talk about as we get going on in future episodes of this podcast. He is, got 5 kids. And so with 5 kids, man, just being able to create your own freedom and your own time freedom and things like that, and get away from doing all the side hustles and stuff. And I think that's one of the key things here is that, a lot of agents get involved in side hustles to bring in income to help fund their real estate business. No, everything we're talking about here on this podcast is about keeping focused on your real estate business. Yeah, and that's it. I think I hit the highlights right there, Matt. Did I miss anything? Tell us what else you got.
You're right there. We'll get into more about our background, in a bit, but that's basically it. Not having to work those long days as I have to, rather than I choose to, because I've got passive income that I want to grow by dealing with other things that are going to build that or scale that.
Right.
But yeah, that's spot on. And for my friend Tony here, yeah, like you said, we were friends from a music group for our kids. Tony has been in the real estate business for forever, it seems, over 20 years. In fact, his mom was an appraiser for that. And rumor has it, Tony, you're going to have to maybe give us some light on this. Were you actually born at an open house? I don't know.
I might have. She was a real estate agent before she was an appraiser. So yeah, it's very possible.
Okay. Yeah, and it looks like you've helped, manage an office of 140 agents.
Oh, yeah.
And that you've coached thousands of agents across the country. So I think that's going to help us provide some value to our listeners here. You've been a part of over 1,200 closings, and I guess you're a guy that thinks it shouldn't be that hard. Is that right?
That is absolutely right. Yeah, the real estate business, folks, should not be that hard. And the message that we get a lot of times from this industry is that, we've got to be this hardcore grinding every single day to really experience the things that we got into this business for. And Matt, I don't know what, why did you get into real estate? What was like your catalyst? The one day, and when you're sitting there going, you know what, I'm doing real estate. I know what mine was. I'll tell you that in a second. What was your reason for getting in?
I remember my first year of college back in 1990. There was a winter break. I ended up staying up at school, and I had to take some class. My dad said, "You are going to stay there and get the most for your money." Well, they did a real estate class. I thought, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." I loved buildings. I loved walking through new construction, seeing where things are going to go. But then in the mid to late 90s, I had a friend who he was a realtor, and he did property management as a side or as part of his business. And I thought, hey, what if I got my license and I created a business where I'm managing people's properties? But then it grew into, what if I started buying these properties? And there's a lot of wealth and passive income that can be generated from that type of thing. So that's kind of like that grew and grew. And I ended up, as you'll hear in a little while, taking a shift in my career for a little while, but then came back to it in 2004. And it's just the idea of, I like buildings, and how can I create some things where I can enjoy life, where I'm not nailed to my office chair 8 to 12 hours a day. So it's just kind of an interesting subject.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I always love asking that question when I'm dealing with any agent, because it's kind of funny, because we look back at what's that reason that you got in, and then 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, you ask them, and did you accomplish that?
Right.
And oftentimes the answer is no. And it's not necessarily because of their fault. It's just because the system's not set up in a way where it is designed to help that agent really accomplish that goal. And I got some pretty interesting stories that I've heard from some big leaders in the real estate space that'll help shed some perspective on it, and not from a negative. They may come across as negative and evil and nefarious and things like that, but when you kind of look at it and you go, oh, now that I know this, I can leverage this and turn it into something that helps me and my family grow and create great things in this business. I'll tell you, I got into this business because well, first of all, my mother was a real estate agent for years, since the 70s. She ultimately became an appraiser, and the joke is that I might have been born at an open house, but so I think it was just kind of in my blood, right? And then I went to work for title insurance companies, and I was doing real estate marketing for real estate agents. Then I got recruited by a mortgage company as their national marketing director, which, if you can imagine, the whole job involved creating marketing materials to give to real estate agents in order to get the loan business, right?
Right.
And those were different days. I think they're really cautious about doing that now. And so everything I did was around marketing real estate, and bless their hearts, they're out there doing the job. But I saw some people out there making lots of sales that I looked at and went, holy smokes, if those guys are doing that much business every single month, and I calculated out how much they're making, man, I'll kill it because I'm a pretty smart guy, right? And there's pros and cons to that too. I'll tell you, the one thing that they did and why they were killing it was because they were consistent. It's that simple. They were very consistent in what they did. And so my whole reason was, I looked at that and said, man, if those ding dongs can make money in real estate, so can I. And I did. I made a lot of money in real estate. But just going on in my career over and over and over and over and over and stuff. And, one of the things that was really interesting to me was, and I'll tell you, I had a conversation with one of the largest brokers in our area. The company's no longer in business, or not the broker, but the actual owner. And I was fighting for some agent to get their commission increased, because this guy was killing it. He was making lots and lots and lots of sales, way more than most any person in the company. And the owner of that company got very angry at me and actually yelled at me and said, you know what? We're not interested in giving that person more money because they're costing us money. I said, wait, what? They're making lots of sales. They're putting money in your pocket every single time. And they said, no, what we rely on is we rely on the brand new agent who comes in. They make their first sale they sell mom and dad's house. Then they sell a friend's house. They get lucky and they sell a third person's house. They're on a really high split, so we get a big chunk of that change, and then they get out of the business. And we're okay with that because we just keep turning them over. And that was when my eyes were open. I'm like, oh my gosh, this industry is not set up to have success for the agents. It's set up for the top, set up from the top down, right? Well, we figure out how to flip that around, and we'll talk about that as we get going. But Matt, you're leveraging, investing and property management and stuff like that.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Well, my hope is, I think a lot of people live in a place where there's a little fear maybe about, am I going to be able to take care of my family? So my heart really is to find a way where I can actually invest in properties that are going to throw off some cash flow. Happiness is positive cash flow. So if you do it right and you've got the right training, the right experience, you can find opportunities out there. Whether it's finding the motivated seller, they have some reason that they're done with that property, and we can come in and make a deal, make an offer that's acceptable to the seller. And now, if the numbers are right, we acquire the property. A lot of times, we've got investors that have cash that are willing to work with me and help put up that initial money. And now it's just you're finding properties that now put me in a position where I'm not dealing from a place of I have to work, I have to put in these 12 hours, because if I don't, I can't buy the food, I can't put gas in the car, and I want to try to get that. That's been my life for the last 7-8 years. I've got to stay out until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and there's a better way. And I've been spending probably since 2015 trying to educate myself to a point where I'm able to maybe do more of these deals and maybe share something I know that can be of value to others. I hope that's the case. I have somebody that's listening to this show goes, oh, that's a great idea, and they can use that somehow. But it really comes down to if you're trained up and you've got knowledge, it changes everything. And then it takes the hard work to go out and apply what you know to finding agents to work with or finding properties to acquire. It's out there. It's just knowing where to look and how to execute. And that's where my heart is. That's my hope for this podcast. With your background and my background, I think we can offer something up to our listeners that'll help them maybe realize that there's something better for them out there if they're interested in going that route.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's part of it. The investing in property. You're in real estate. Why aren't you investing in property?
Right.
That's our business, right? But we're in a business where we're kind of constantly trying to fund our real estate business to get up over that hump so that we can invest in real estate. And it's kind of like a vicious circle sometimes. And statistically, so many agents don't get to a point where they're up over that hump. They're still just living paycheck to paycheck. You guys have heard Robert Kiyosaki's
I was just going to say.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got the quadrant, the 4 quadrants. You've got employee, right? And that's you were probably an employee at one point in time. And actually I was as well. And I have a whole story behind that too. But I'll tell you, I was an employee for a company, the mortgage company, where I was making a very good salary. I was their national marketing director. But I increased their revenue in a 9-month period by something like 12,000% or some ridiculous number. It was crazy numbers. They couldn't even keep up, right? And as a result, they're a very big company right now. And if I said the name, most of you probably know it. But anyway, that's aside from the point. I went into the owner's office one day and I go, hey, you know what? Um, I think I've done a pretty good job. Can I, maybe you guys can kick me down like a car allowance? Because I was driving kind of a shoddy little car. And he said the magic words that changed my fate forever. And those magic words were, I can't, you're at your limit. You're at the peak
Right.
of what we can pay you. And I said, what? So wait a minute. In my mind, I'm going, and so you're determining my worth? You're determining my worth? No, you're not. There's no way. I gave my 2 weeks notice. I was making a great salary. I went home, told my wife after she recovered, she passed out when I told her. I said, I'm going to go sell real estate. And she, was like, okay, supportive, but very scared because we had a really good lifestyle. And we continued on with that. But that's the first quadrant, is the employee, where somebody else has that control and they're going, you're only worth so much, right? So what do? We go and we become self-employed. We become a real estate agent. And we're in that self-employed category. But guess what? Self-employed category is nothing more than, you still have a job.
Right.
It's just you're the only person that you're working for.
Right.
And my question is, if you were if there was a clone of you that you hired to do the job, would you keep them or would you fire them? I know a lot of people, chances are they'd be fired.
Right.
Right?
Like,
because we're self-employed now. We don't have to get up and go to work.
Right.
We don't have to get out of bed at a certain time. We don't have to do certain things. We sit around and we watch The Price is Right, at 10 o'clock in the morning when we should be, making calls or doing whatever. Right.
Sure.
And so the goal here for us is to get to that third quadrant, which is to have a business.
Right.
To have a business where the business is supporting us as opposed to us supporting the business. Right. Something that will run on an ongoing basis, providing us with cash flow.
Regardless if you show up or not.
Regardless of if you show up or not. Right. And then at that point, the next one is the what? What's the fourth category? Investor, right? That's Matt's specialty. Becoming the investor, where you're just putting money into the machine, and the machine's just printing the money, and you're not even involved in the business aspect of it, so to speak. Right. You know what I mean? So
I like that book. I think the book is The Cash Flow Quadrant was the name of that book.
It's part. I think it's part of Rich Dad Poor Dad also. I believe. I'm pretty sure. But, whatever. One of them.
The same author, and I think what it is they work hand in hand. And I think that the Rich Dad Poor Dad does a great job about not becoming a person that's only in the rat race. That if you can understand those four quadrants that you talked about, it's the business owner and the investor. That's where wealth is created.
Right.
And that's kind of the point of what we're doing, is that we're trying to create or help people understand how to create that wealth, so they're not in that mouse trap or that mouse wheel, the little spinning thing, because there's something better out there for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, so what we're going to do in upcoming episodes is we're just going to kind of talk about a combination of things. We're going to talk about different passive income strategies that we can use. We're going to talk about marketing ideas. We're going to talk about investing. We're going to have guests on who will be sharing their experiences. We're going to have really high level producing agents who will come on the show and say, hey, here's what our experience is. But one of the things that we're really going to try to focus on this show is to keep it for the what do I want to say, the common agent. Okay. And why I say that is because, yes, there are those agents out there who are doing 400 transactions a year. That's great. And they figured it out. But one of the things I've realized in coaching and training over the years, Matt, and you tell me, when somebody says do 400 transactions a year and here's how, does it seem attainable to most agents? That
the average agent is going to get real big eyes and go 400. If you think about that, that's like 40. Well, that's like 40 a month, right?
Give or take, yeah.
Give or take. So that seems overwhelming, to say the least. So yeah, if there's a way to do it where you can put good production where maybe you can scale it, and, and get those systems in place so that it's not eating the elephant all in one bite.
And that's where a lot of these other where these guys come from a standpoint of, I'm already here. This is what you should be doing. No, we're not there.
That's
and
not where you started, by the way.
Yeah. And yeah, you started down here with everybody else. What were some of the steps that we got you there? Right. And also one of the things too is that we realized that there's people who are in different stages in their real estate career. So, right. So, some of you, like I spoke, Matt, and oh my gosh, you would be blown away with this kid that I spoke to yesterday. The guy's going to be 18 in 2 weeks. He's getting his real estate license like 3 days later. He's taking the test. He is so gung-ho about the real estate career. He has decided his career is going to be real estate, and that's all he's going to focus on. And he's going to be something really, really big. But you know what? He's the new guy, and he has all the energy and excitement and enthusiasm in the world, right? And while I love this business, I'm at the other end of the spectrum. You know what? I want to relax a little bit. I've done the 16-hour days. Right. For years. I did the 16-hour days, and we were crushing it. But, I want to relax a little bit using leverage tools to get us passive income. And then there's other people who are somewhere in the middle, right? And so we're going to kind of address all of those. So regardless of where you are in your career, and, what your goals are, we'll hit each of those. So, what else are we going to cover, Matt?
I'm looking forward to those interviews because sometimes we can give a new perspective. So as we go along, we're going to find some good people to go and do that with. Gosh, what else? For now, I think you covered
just have some fun, right?
I just want to have a good time doing this.
Yeah.
And hopefully people will want to come back and hear more. What's the next crazy thing that Tony's going to do on this show that's like, I got to come back.
Right. Yeah. You have the show list handy? Because we've got them all. We got a bunch
sure.
of shows.
So we're next episode we will be talking about the why multifamily is a good investment versus a single family. I'll be giving some insights on what those are, what's a 1031 exchange, and how does that work. And so it's just there's advantages to both. A lot of people do single family because it seems easier, but then they might do some other multifamily stuff because there's advantages to that. So that'll be the next episode. We'll talk about property types, A, B's, and C's, versus the neighborhoods that they're in. What are emerging markets and how do I identify them? Those are for an investor. This is what makes puts you in a position of retirement more easily, because now if you have a property that's going to have a lot of appreciation, then you now have a lot more choices. You have all this passive income and equity, and now you can do whatever you want with it. Let's go buy an island somewhere in the tropics and just drink Mai Tais all day. I mean, right. or just I'm going to reinvest or give my kids some sort of legacy financing so that they have a little bit of an advantage, so they don't have to struggle like we did as much. But then that's a whole another philosophy. You don't want to give your kids that they got the silver spoon right here either. So, but that's over the next couple of episodes that's what we'll be touching on and talking about real estate agents and their life and all that.
And of course, all the marketing tips that we're going to be throwing in here too. This is great stuff. Things that we've accumulated over the years, and the things that work versus the things that are just shiny objects. We always know that that's a big issue we get as agents. We're like, we have such a long sales cycle. It's very easy for us to get distracted by that shiny object because we're looking to try and shorten that sales cycle. But let's if you get a property in escrow, you're not getting paid for 30 or 45 days,
right?
And so you get distracted by, gosh, what else can I do to make money right now in between?
Right.
Well, we're going to work on to talk about some of the marketing ideas and things like that that just shorten or not shorten, but give you more consistent business so that you're not in the up and down and up and down and up and down, which is the thing that'll just drive you absolutely
Flatten that
insane.
curve. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Flatten the curve. Right. We've heard enough about that.
What a kind of
But it
segue
is.
with the current times right now.
Yeah. No, but it is. It's like you got the real estate virus, man. I got the virus, and I got to flatten that curve to
Sure.
keep it steady. Keep the income
I was reading when
steady.
you said the shiny objects. I remember there's this movie called Up, and it has the ones with the guy with the balloons in the house, and there's the dogs that have the collars that talk, and then like they'll be talking something really important, then all of a sudden squirrel, something got their attention. And so how do we not have those squirrel moments?
Yeah,
And so that
very
we can
easy
be
to do.
consistent.
And one thing I want to point out, and I hope that people recognize this, is that as Matt is sharing with us some of these investment strategies, this only makes you become a more valuable agent. Maybe you don't go out and buy multi-family units, but you learn a technique that allows you to go out and have intelligent conversations with other people about buying multifamily units, right? Maybe you got that family that they're looking to buy something. They just don't know what, and they think they're going to buy a 3,500 square foot house that they really kind of don't need. Would they be better served investing their money in a 4-unit property?
Right.
And now you can talk intelligently about that, use it in your marketing, just to make yourself stand out a little bit, because that is one thing we have to do in this business. We really got to learn how to stand out. But anyways, ultimate goal, all of it, passive income, right? So that's, I think, where we're going to go. Right, Matt?
That's it. We want to add value everywhere we go. You and Tony and I, we want to add value. When you're an investor or a real estate agent, you're always looking for ways to add value to the people that you're talking to the properties that you're looking at. You want to add something that's going to make that experience or that property more valuable than when you started. And so that's really what we hope that we can provide to our listeners.
That's it. All right, guys. Well, Matt, unless you got anything else, I think we're going to say goodbye right now, and we're just going to move on and get to that next episode. So make sure, you subscribe and do all that good stuff, and we will see you guys on the next episode. You got anything, Matt?
Yeah. Thanks for checking in with us, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Passive Real Estate Agent Podcast. Hey, do us a favor and subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening to us right now. Don't forget the likes and the comments. We always appreciate it. And, it really helps others to find this valuable information. Now, look, there's something that both Matt and I and several of our guests have discovered that has radically changed our real estate job into a truly passive income. And it's a little controversial, and that's why we really don't discuss it on the show. But we'd like to invite those truly entrepreneurial individuals to learn more. Just visit thepassiverealestateagent.com and join one of our upcoming webinars. You'll thank yourself later that you did. Thanks again so much for listening. Take care.